You know what? I was thinking. You always hear people talk about in like fantasy how they crafted this sword from the blood of their enemies by slaying 1,000 men, and they created the greatest sword to have ever been created. And I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. So how would I do that? So I did myself a little Google search, and it sounds as if the average man has 4 grams of iron in his blood, and the average British longsword is 1.45 kilograms, of course. And then you take the average carbon content, which is 1.051% for a sword. You multiply that by the 1.45 kilograms, you get 1.4347605 kilograms. And at 0.004 kilograms of iron in the average man, you divide you divide 1.4347605 kilograms by 0.004 kilograms. I think that's how you do it. Basically, you end up with 358.69, or 359 dead men. And this is if we're talking about adult men. That is expensive. But then I was thinking, wait, hold up. I don't want to make no British longsword. I want to make a great sword. I was thinking, how much would it take to make the Buster Sword from Final Fantasy? And so I was thinking a lot. And well, I think I found it out. So the Buster Sword is pretty heavy. In reality, it's 80 pounds. That's a lot. That's pretty heavy. Cloud getting ripped here. And so I did 36.2874, which is 80 pounds in kilograms, times 1.051, to get 38.1380574. And then I took that number, I divided 38.1380574, divided it by 0.004, and I got 9534.51435, which means to create the Buster Sword from Final Fantasy, you'd have to kill a grand total of 9,535 people. Dang. Now join me next time as I calculate how much blood you would need to pave the streets of America in blood. I'm recording this at a different time, and the audio quality will probably be different, but I thought, hey, the next step in this whole blood sword thing is how many can we make in a year? If we went full production value, started just turning out corpses into into Buster Swords. How many could we realistically make? Well, we established that the Buster Sword weighs about 38 pounds, right? And, well, I took the average of the human iron in the body, which is, 0.0035 kilograms, which is for women, I think it is, and 0.003 kilograms and 0.004 kilograms, which is the average of adult male, adult woman, and child. We take those together, we add them together, we divide them by 3, and we get 0.008 kilograms. And so, with that number in hand, that's the average iron in a human, because that takes account all ages and genders. If we take the Buster Sword amount, 38.1380574, I think it was, and we divide that by our 0.0085, we get the amount of Buster Swords, the average amount, because this is an average of man, woman, and children, because it's not like we're only... I couldn't find, like, a simple number of how many adult males died per year, so I just averaged all the numbers out, and I came to the conclusion that if we really cranked this hard, we could, with the corpses produced in America each year we could make an average of 4,487 Buster Swords. That's rounding the .8 at the end up. So, there you have it. I think that's what it is. Bro, show. This is a show that actually doesn't have a name. It's where I upload a random video that has random content in it for a random reason. The reason isn't actually random. It's just no reason at all. See, when I first played through Hollow Knight, or second, I played Hollow Knight a lot. And it's a little bit bad because my controller broke and I'm not going to be able to play it on the channel. Or maybe I can by the time this video's out. I post my videos at like weird dates. Anyway, I saw this character named GRIMM. He's a troupe performer, kind of vampire Dracula, Grim Reaper. I mean, his name comes from the Grim Reaper, but he's not really like the Grim Reaper. He looks like Dracula. He's a vampire bat, you know? And when I first saw him, I imagined him to have like a very deep, very suave, elegant, regal voice, like, oh. And in all like of the Hollow Knight animations or Hollow Knight fan-made things, his voice is like always really, really, really deep. Because people are like, oh wow, this guy's so epic. He must have this really deep, epic voice. And I'll play some sample clips of that right here. Like this is a fan song about GRIMM, and this is what his voice sounds like in that.
I standing higher, adding fuel to the fire. Hear the crowd roar, hear them screaming for more.
And here's what his voice actually sounds like. It's weird, right? On the first one, it's like, oh yeah, that's so right, so regal. Because of all of that red and black, and it should sound so epic. And then you hear him, and it either sounds like he's in a dire need of water, or he's a chain smoker, which is something the Hollow Knight community has, like, joked about a lot. It's just really weird. Anyway, did you like that video? It's already over. Can you believe it? Yeah, I know. It's so quick. I love cranking this out. They're kind of a pain to edit because I actually put more, usually, I don't know, for the projects that I'm working on right now that I haven't released, I usually put more effort into editing them than I do my regular videos, which is kind of weird, because I feel like I have to get more content packed into a smaller amount of space, and also there's no gameplay, so I have to find images to put over it. It's kind of annoying. I could leave it a black screen, but that's not very interesting to people who haven't seen A Normal Day at Smart and Final. So yeah. I'll see you guys later. Or not, I don't know. I don't have to. Bye. Irrefutably wet. Now, that's kind of a strange thing that's kind of a strange thing to say, right? Because I'm actually someone who erred more on the water is not wet side of the debate. If you know me, I believe that water made other things wet and therefore cannot be wet itself because water doesn't have water on it. You can't splash water onto it and be like, it's wet now. It's like, that's kind of a poor, that's a poor summary of my, philosophy of it. But basically, I thought water was the thing that made other things wet. So like liquids couldn't be wet because that's how they were. They are the things that make other things wet, right? I don't know. I'm not gonna go into why I believe that right now, but by looking up on Google, I've found that irrefutably water is wet, which is not something I necessarily believe, but it says right here. So, you may think, oh, okay, let's look on Google. Let's see. What does it mean to be wet? Now, it says wet is an adjective, which means to be covered or saturated with water or another liquid. See, that seems to, sum up my argument pretty well. It's like water is not saturated with water or covered with water. It is water. Therefore, not meeting any of these requirements, and therefore water is not wet. And then we look through the other definitions, showing a lack of forcefulness or strength of character, feeble. That's an informal British term. No. To cover or touch with liquid, moisten. That's a verb. And then we get to liquid that makes something damp. A noun. Now, water is a liquid, and water makes things damp. This is true. These are two irrefutable statements. Therefore, water fits the two categories of what it means for something to be wet. Not the adjective, but the noun. So therefore, if we base our assumptions off of the Google dictionary, water is not wet because it's not covered with water, but it is wet because it is a liquid that makes something damp. So therefore, water is neither wet nor not wet. It is both. Wow.